Your Excellency, the President of the University, Professor al-Tarawneh, Your Excellency, the Ambassador of Poland to Jordan, Mr. Kashimshov Boyko, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is a pleasure to welcome you all today to the third International Interdisciplinary Scientific Conference, Poland, Jordan, EU, a new role of Europe in the Middle East after the Arab Spring. From the title of the conference, you may have noticed that we still talk about the role of external factors in the Middle East. Well, this should surprise no one. By and large, the dynamics of the Middle East have been shaped and reshaped by the intervention of external great powers for a little bit more than 2 centuries. According to a convention commonly agreed upon among historians, the modern history of the Middle East begins at the turn of the 19th century when the French expeditionary forces commanded by General Napoleon invaded and conquered Egypt and stayed until it was forced to leave by a squadron of the British naval commanded by Admiral Nelson. What happened then was the epitome of our relative weakness vis-à-vis Europe. Napoleon's arrival and still more his departure demonstrated 2 important facts: that even a small Western force could conquer, occupy, and rule one of the heartlands of the Islamic world without serious difficulty, and that only another Western force could get them out. This began the period during which ultimate power over, and with it responsibility for, what happened in the region resided elsewhere, when the basic themes of international relations and of much else in the Middle East was shaped by the competition of non-Middle Eastern states. These competitions and rivals went through several succession phases: interference, intervention, penetration, domination, and in the final phase, sometimes reluctance, sometimes relief, departure. From time to time, the actors in the drama changed, and the script was a bit modified, but until the final phase, the basic pattern remained the same. Without getting into details about the relative weight of the role played by external dynamics, one should also point out to the struggle of the Arab societies and the indigenous people during the decolonization period to realize self-determination. Ladies and gentlemen, future historian of the region may well agree on a new convention of periodization, that the era in the Middle East history that was opened by Napoleon and Nelson was closed by the eruption of the Arab Spring that has thus far hit hard the region. This time around, unsurprisingly, a few would wonder as to what role played by external factors in aggravating or mitigating the Arab Spring. It is not as if there has been no attempt to impact the region, but the Arab Second Awakening has catapulted internal factors into prominence. If anything, the Arab Spring vindicates Edward Said's critique of Orientalism, in which Arab societies tended to be static, frozen, externally fixed. According to this perception, the Middle East is static, unchangeable, and cannot define itself. The West, therefore, through Orientalism, took it upon itself to represent the Orient and by means to open it to exploitation. The very essence of Orientalism is to take control of Orient and take away from it any ability to speak for itself. I believe this kind of projecting is no longer valid. The conference of today sheds light on the new political and strategic eras that will govern the relationship between Europe and this part of the world. Additionally, the focus will be on the prospects for future economic cooperation between the 2 regions. Ladies and gentlemen, since its establishment in 2008, the School of International Studies and Political Science has sought to provide a forum for discussing topics and themes that can bridge the gap between them and us. The school combines the tradition of expertise in a wide range of fields in politics, political theory, political economy, human rights, and international relations with depth of specialism and regional expertise across the globe. The school provides a unique environment for learning, training, and research. Our mission is to train exceptional public leaders and generate the idea that provides solutions to our most challenging public problems. Some of the people whose contributions are most proud are the ones getting less attention here. I'm referring to the students, and I want to really thank them for coming today. And I will leave it to my colleague, the Dean of School of International Studies, Dr. Zaid Iyadat, to talk about this. Ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, I call on my colleague, Dr. Zaid. The floor is yours.
الله صباحكم جميعا. President of the University of Jordan, His Excellency Professor al-tarawneh, His Excellency Ambassador of the Republic of Poland, Krzysztof Bojoko, Excellencies, distinguished guests, colleagues, students, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning for everyone. We are in the midst of tremendous global shift. The School of International Studies and Political Science is undertaking initiatives to lead our society in the creation of a knowledge-based polity with a globally respected citizenry. As we continue to advance, international partnerships and initiatives have become a necessity. Just last week, the School of International Studies launched the Center for Latin American Studies. Next year, we will launch an Institute for Electoral Studies. We are also in the process of launching a Human Rights and Democratic Development Initiative in order to promote dialogue, encourage civil participation, and achieve sustainable political development by focusing on youth empowerment. This is in accordance with the goals set forth by King Abdullah II in his recent visit celebrating the 50th anniversary of our prestigious institution on December 10th. This conference is a continuation of the school's efforts to contribute and increase the scientific knowledge of politics. I would like to take a chance to extend my greatest gratitude to the many minds and hands that made this conference possible. First, to the university's president, Professor al-tarawneh, and to the university's administration for their tremendous help and support. And second, to His Excellency, Ambassador of the Republic of Poland, for great efforts and job in putting this all together. And to my colleague, Professor Saad Obadiah, who took the initiative 2 years ago in order to launch this conference in cooperation with Poland. And to my colleagues, to my students, and to the people who are working at the Faculty and School of International Studies, Khlas, Siham, Camelia, Lubna, Muhammad, Musa, and the rest. It is in light of these global shifts that we are gathered here today. The last 5 years has been the remaking of the global politics and economic structures. In 2008, the world watched as the Eurozone was temporarily paralyzed in the global financial crisis. The economic stagnation of much of the West was internationalized, causing a contraction of the global GDP growth rates. As the largest consumer markets in the globe, the US and most of the EU were hit by the financial crisis. The sustainability of the old economic system was brought into question. With this financial strain, relations between regions shifted and opportunities to forge new partnerships have arrived. Democracy, human rights, and social mobility have long been ideas accepted by Europe. The world watched as our nations demanded the same. The commonality in values has led to larger mutual understanding. In that end, we can collaborate together more effectively. Although the Eurozone and the Middle East have had strategic trade partnership for many years, these recent shifts highlighted their importance. The Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan and Europe already enjoy a strong relationship. Partnerships pervade our mutual economic, political, and trade sectors. Relationships were tested in 2008 with the financial crisis. However, one nation remained economically robust. Through its diversified trade partnership and steadfast political leadership, Poland has transformed into a leading financial center in the Eurozone. Home to the 7th largest economy in the European Union today, Poland, like Jordan, has a tremendous investment potential. Organizations like the Jordanian European Business Association and the Polish Embassy in Amman furthered our prosperous efforts. Relationships were to be tested again in 2011 as the largest reconstruction of the MENA in modern history took place. The Arab Spring has forever altered dialogues, discourses, and policies in relation to our region. However, similar to our Polish counterparts, Jordan remains steady despite the various regional revolutions. Because of our intrinsic stability, bilateral relations are expected to expand to $50 million by the end of the 2012 fiscal year. The future of relations between Poland and Jordan has yet to be written, but it's incumbent on us to further those relations in order to make the University of Jordan a truly globally premier institution. On November 10th of this year, Jordan hosted the 8th Jordanian Polish Business Forum with the partnership of over 30 Jordanian firms and 20 Polish companies, organized by the Jordan-Europe Business Association in cooperation with the Polish Ministries of Defense, Economy, and Foreign Affairs. Our efforts must continue to be encouraged. Founded in 2004, the forum's aims to strengthen industry cooperation between our two regions. The focus of the 2012 dialogue was larger military relations between manufacturers in both countries. In that aim, Poland dispatched its first military attaché to our nation. Plans are to sign a defense cooperation agreement, including cooperation in training and the acquisition of defense equipment, technology, and research and development. As a result of our efforts, bilateral relations are expected to go higher. I will just move to what we need to do. As we continue in this new era, post-financial crisis and Arab Spring, globalization has become the way of the future. Citizens, European and Arabs, desire a larger real understanding of their participation in the new global order. The last 5 years has seen the remaking of history and the transcendence of once stubborn political identities. As Europe and the MENA are now being remade, the next 5 years are of utmost importance. The creation of a dynamic relationship between the School of International Studies at the University of Jordan and our European intellectual counterparts stands to create a plethora of scholarship. Utilizing language, international relations, and socio-anthropological studies in cooperation with international exchanges, we can create a more peaceful and just international order. Our efforts will see the expansion of trade diversification of our economies and the enlightenment of our polities. What matters now is our collaborative potential, integrated scholarship, and the future we pave together for ourselves and the globe. Through the partnership of the University of Jordan and the Polish Embassy, we transcend national identities, solidifying our influence and creating opportunities for both of our societies to develop and to prosper. A tremendous amount of work must go into the years ahead. However, as we remain steadfast in our dedication, our success is ensured. In this new age, although the road is uncertain, the possibilities are endless. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Zaid. Ladies and gentlemen, behind this initiative and behind much of the work and the institutional work between Poland and Jordan stands one of the most active foreign diplomats in Jordan, and this is the ambassador of Poland, Mr. Kushemisto Boyko. So I call him to give a remark or welcome.
Good morning to everybody. First of all, I want to say thank you to the president of Jordan University, Professor al-Tarawneh, for taking patronage on this initiative. Thank you very much. It is very important fact for us. And of course, I want to say thank you to the Dean Zaid Eidat for a big, very important job which he did for the conference. I want to express my satisfaction and joy to the fact that this is already the third international interdisciplinary academic conference after the second one which took place in 2011. It was entitled Poland-Jordan-European Union Aspects of Cooperation and Mutual Experiences of Reforms, and the first international interdisciplinary academic conference in 2010 entitled Poland-Jordan-European Union Future Aspects. These important annual events main purpose to promote and strengthen relations between Poland and Jordan. Next year, we will proudly celebrate 49th anniversary of establishing Polish diplomatic representation in Jordan. Yet the beginnings of Polish-Jordanian relations date back to the 12th century. One of the first Poles that came to the Middle East in 12th century was Duke Henry of Sandomir and a magnate from Poland, Jaksa of Miechów. In 16th century, the Holy Land was visited and described by a famous Polish-Lithuanian noble, Prince Nikolaus Christopher Radziwiłł, the Little Orphan. In 19th century, the region became a popular destination for numerous Polish pilgrims and travelers like the poet Juliusz Słowacki, General Józef Bem, and also Count Rzewuski and Count Dzieduszycki, who were pioneers in establishing Nobel study farms in Arabian horses in Poland. Polish diplomatic relations with Arab countries date from 30s of the 20th century, with Jordan specific Jordan since 1937. In recent years, Middle East countries, including Jordan, where Petra, one of the world's miracles, is situated, have become a popular tourist destination for Polish people. It is worth stressing that already during the late 19th and the early 20th century, many Poles became curious about the Middle East. They were interested in finding out more about the region and its culture. It was common for pilgrims from Poland, accompanied by Polish priests, to come to the Holy Land and to present-day Jordan. Some of them left many interesting memories of their journeys. It was also a time of more advanced researches and studies of the Middle East, including Jordan. One of the most significant scientific papers was the book Palestine After World War, Light and Shadows. It was published in 1923 in Krakow by Professor Władysław Szczepański, a lecturer at the University of Warsaw. He described a large section of his book on political, economical, and social aspects of the newly established Emirate of Transjordan. His tailored summary contains interesting information about the Cairo Conference of March 21 and Winston Churchill's involvement in it. The conference provided the political blueprint for a British administration in the region. The first direct contacts between Poland and Transjordan were initiated in the middle of the 30s. It was related to the Polish-British trade agreement signed in London on 27 of February 1935. The agreement was linked to a special decree issued to Emir of Transjordan, Abdallah. According to the Article 19 of this agreement, provisions of the Polish-British agreement applied for the territory of Transjordan. The constantly increasing number of Polish nationals visiting Palestine and Transjordan led to the historical turning point in bilateral relations. On July 1937, Emir Abdallah issued a decree that allowed Witold Chmielnicki, the Consul General of the Second Polish Republic in Jerusalem, to perform his consular function on the territory of the Emirate of Transjordan. After World War II, Polish-Jordanian relations became closer. It is important to note that in the early 60s, Poland with Syria, Yugoslavia, Lebanon, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, Czechoslovakia, and India was one of the largest importers of Jordanian products. In the early 60s, chemical business was one of the fastest growing and most promising Polish industry. Since that time, the number of representatives of Polish companies visiting Jordan willing to buy phosphate increased significantly. An official correspondence of 1961 between Mohammed Badir, the director of the Jordanian phosphate mines, and Bahiat Talhoni, prime minister, proved that there was substantial interest in developing economic and trade contacts with Poland. Increased interest in cooperation with the Middle East and growing business opportunities were followed by an official inquiry of the Polish authorities concerning establishing a commercial office in Amman. On December 27, 1962, the Jordanian authorities granted their official approval, and a few months later, the first Polish commercial office in Amman officially started its activity. It was May 63. The Polish Commercial and Economic Office in Amman was subjected to the Polish Ministry of Foreign Trade. In 1963, the Soviet Union and the socialist countries established diplomatic contacts with Jordan. It had an impact on diplomatic activities in the region, and in a short time, it resulted in establishing diplomatic contacts between Poland and Jordan at the ambassadorial level. It was in February 1964. The Polish embassy in Amman was headed by the charge d'affaires, but first in Lebanon, after in Damascus, we had Polish ambassadors in charge for Jordan. The changes that took place in Poland between 1989 and 1990, resulting in the collapse of the communism and rebirth of democracy and establishing of the Third Polish Republic, had a direct impact on the Polish-Jordanian relation. Since 1990, ideological differences between both countries ceased to exist. Poland and Jordan became close allies of the United States and were involved in the various activities concerning the Middle East. Polish and Jordanian efforts aimed at restoring stability in the region and ending the Israeli-Palestinian and Israeli-Arab conflicts. The political changes in Poland influenced the structure and functions of the Polish embassy in Amman. Since 1990, the Minister of Foreign Affairs have been coordinating Polish diplomatic mission in Jordan and its staff. Since the beginning of the 21st